Hello everyone, Nordic Beast here. In a previous video of mine, there was a comment by a Gavin Heimerman, and I quote, "I quite like your design. I have a suggestion. See if you can make a Manderlev tank that can pass Snow Tanks Land." Well, I was not familiar with this Manderlev tank, and so I had to Google it. And the more I fell down this rabbit hole, the more I was left in awe by this gargantuan monstrosity. Look at this thing. Look at this Minecraft tank. It looks like a train boxcar with Civil War era iron plate bolted onto the side and a 120mm artillery piece for good measure on tracks. It's just ridiculous. Oh my goodness. And it would have. It was never actually built. It was they just designed it, but they never made anything of it. It would have had 150mm of armor on the front, 100mm on the side. It would have had a 250 horsepower engine at a whopping 1.44 horsepower per ton. At 173 tons, this thing. Oh my God. Unbelievable. They claim it would have been able to make about 15 miles an hour, which I think is extremely optimistic. Yeah. So length 13 meters, which we kind of have to cut short. No, that's with the gun. So 10 meters. It's 10 meters. So, perfect. All right, so do a 10-meter long vehicle that's 4 meters high. It doesn't actually say its width. Oof. Okay, well, I'm not one to shy away from a challenge, so let's give this a go, shall we? let's talk about the final design. This thing weighed so much, I had trouble getting it to even move. It weighed 65 tons initially, and it was far shy of the 173 of the actual Mendeleev tank. But as you see in this footage, which is times 4, by the way, I have so much trouble going up even the slightest of slopes, and it's hurting my engine to do it, that when it was full-sized, there's no way this thing could have made it. So I ended up cutting the height of the vehicle down for 2 reasons. Number 1 was weight, and number 2, I'd spawn the vehicle and it wouldn't move, or it would instantly get hit by anti-tank guns, and then of course it wouldn't move. So I cut down the height, and it's so unmaneuverable that I couldn't do a fixed gun. I had to do a turret, and even that didn't turn out too well. I got so frustrated by testing this over and over and over and over and over that the only characteristic I looked for in the gun was to be able to move up and down at a decent, acceptable pace. And so the barrel is very, very short, and it takes a lot of hits to take out vehicles. You'll see here in a minute. I just fire over and over and over, and you'll see ricochet, ricochet, ricochet. Because it's, even for this, is a very low velocity gun. And whew, man. This was quite an experience. I hope you're happy, Gavin, because this was a test in patience. So there's a couple of design changes I wish I would have done. Number 1, I gave it extremely wide tracks and interlacing road wheels. I did that because of my experience making the American Mouse. It really helps distribute the weight of the vehicle, and I thought that's how this would work, and I don't think it was the best decision. So I may end up building another one a little more accurate to the actual Mendeleev tank, and make it taller, maybe a little less armored, or just mess with the suspension and see how mobile I can get it. And that one I might not record because even compressing it times 10, the footage you saw of me building, that, like I said, that took about 35 minutes, so it's a little over 3 minutes of a sped up build video. Yeah, it's a bit much. So when I finished, though, I thought I had saved the tank. Apparently I did not, and I was going to name it the Gavin. So my next one, if I build retry this, it will be the Gavin Mark II. Now, its armor, I did 50 millimeter on the front, and I believe 30 or 35 on the sides, and then 10 millimeter on the back. And a couple of shots still occasionally get through on this thing. As you see here, my engine is damaged and my ammunition. I'm not sure if that's ammunition or if it's my gun. So, yeah, some shots still got through. It's, once again, not invincible, but it is pretty close. However, I can't get it to go anywhere. Again, this is times 4 footage. Look at how slow I'm going. Now here I try to shoot the tank traps, but apparently the guns don't have physics for shooting the tank traps. So I decided just to kind of squeeze by, which actually ends up working. I'm pretty pleased with this. I used that crater to help curve my way around past it. Now the one thing this thing could do really well, as you see here, is cross trenches. They were not a big deal for this vehicle. I like that characteristic. However, the transmissions, which is just inherent for World War I technology, the limitations in the game for the time period, it makes sense. This thing does not want to go. And it doesn't want to climb either. And if I raise the gear ratios, it burns out the engine. And I don't want that either. So this thing is slow and doesn't climb well, but again, crosses trenches quite well. Overall, I don't think I'd ever want to drive this particular tank again. So normally it takes me, 8 to 10 minutes to do this scenario. It took me over half an hour to do this one. Like with this run that you're watching right now, over half an hour. I fired over 100 rounds out of that damn 37 millimeter. And this is where it got really hard, was you have to get over these hills to the artillery, and look at how many shots it takes just to hit that one. And then it's going to take me forever to get to the next and the next and the next. And it was a true test in patience. You guys see all those bullet holes? I got hit so many times. You have to have armor for a lot of these scenarios, because even with how crappy those guns are, they just auto hit you almost continuously. Now, this is about the time I almost gave it the double middle finger and quit. And I'm glad I didn't, because I'm happy to say I am victorious in the end. We're almost there. But as you watch, I'm trying to get an angle on this guy, and it takes forever to get my gun in position. And then I can't get over this area. Now, luckily, my reverse gear is the same as my front, so this thing can travel in either direction equally well. And this right here is when I notice a gun over there. And I was just trying to get over this hill, but it's spinning my whole tank. And then I decide, you know what, I'm going to go over there and get that artillery piece. But I don't know how I'm going to get to it. And this becomes a theme here, and it's very frustrating. And I can't hit it from this angle, so I got to move forward. I think at one point I also realized I can see, right here, I could see those artillery, but it would take me like half an hour for that damn slow-ass turret to turn around. And also at this point, you notice my engine icon has turned red because of all the climbing I've done. My already damaged engine from the one shot that went through is continuing to damage further. Oh, this was frustrating. So in the end, what I would like to try to do for 8 Gavin Mark II is to make this more a proper spiritual successor, make it the full size and everything, but it will still have a turret. I will not remove the turret. I think I will also try a different track layout. Instead of so wide with the multi wheels, I might just go for simpler regular wheels that aren't interlaced and thinner tracks, and then I'm going to mess with the gear ratios and such and see if I can really get this thing moving. And last, the reason, I forgot to mention this earlier, the reason the front is angled, the front plate, instead of being flat, was I just wanted the machine guns to be on an angle. That is literally the only reason I angled it, which is actually kind of a detriment, because when the guns shoot at you from an angle, it ends up flat. So, right about here, I finish up the round, and yeah, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please hit the like button, and I'll see you guys next time.